Kala Balasundaram is a good friend of mine, and I had the great privilege of knowing her for the last at least 18 years. And together, I think we have grown up, and our children have grown up, organizations have grown up, and she has grown up tremendously. And with her, her mission and her ambition, and the so-called calling, the purpose that many of us actually forget to identify that when it happens. But I think Kala had that calling correctly in her life, and she took that calling very sincerely. And despite of the professional challenges that she had, like the amazing work that she was doing in the corporate, I think she managed to pick herself and keep her passion going on and her purpose very, very consistent. And today she is able to quit her corporate job and give a full-time focus to it. I think many of us have a lot of things to learn from her. So, Kala, just to share about you personally, and please share about your family, your passions, your hobbies. Then we can discuss about alert, because there is so much written and said about alert. But the founder, the seed of alert, is something which we would love to hear.
Yeah. Good evening to everybody, and thanks Uma and Ambika for giving me this opportunity. And it really doesn't matter. You don't have to apologize that there are, very few participants in this, because for me, eWIT is very, very close to my heart, and I'm so happy to be a part of this event. Thank you, Uma and Ambika, once again. Like again, to the extent that you said that it's a privilege of knowing me and alert. For me, it is a privilege about being here as a part of the eWIT forum, because I was also a part of eWIT, very active member of eWIT for some time before, after which I had to really, excuse myself due to other commitments that, and I felt that if I'm being a part of some organization, I better do justice to it.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, either do justice to it or just don't let your name. And that was where I stood. And but otherwise, I think eWIT is extremely close to my heart. So I'm very, very happy to be here. And thanks, Uma, for those kind words. Yeah, my association with Uma goes back to the HP days where we got connected, and she was the very first person who connected when I said, I need volunteers and I wanted to talk about this mission to people. She was the very first person who walked into that room, and our association has continued from there. So from there, I am an IT manager. I was an IT management person with over 25 years of IT industry experience. And then it was just about 3.5 years back, I took a conscious decision to move into this mission, which I was trying to parallelly manage along with my the job in IT. And that was also because it reached a point where it needed that full-time attention, because we started doing some central government projects with the WHO and AIMS and things like that. But I should also say that I was enjoying my career so much that I didn't feel like quitting it also. So it was a big, major dilemma that I was going through, whether I really have to quit it. But then I think the calling was stronger than anything else. So that was what it was about. And personally, I'm married with 2 children. My daughter married. It's a year since she got married, and my son, the younger one, he did his undergrad in Purdue and then worked with McKinsey, and then now he's in London Business School doing his PG.
That's awesome. So basically, people who are in corporate and also in the social network, somebody like Kala, whom I can proudly say she's also a very big social butterfly, flying everywhere happily with all her true colors and chasing her dreams. I think being that and managing your family, managing your fitness goals, managing yourself, I think that is where Kala stands out. I think for the last 20 years I've been seeing you almost the same. Please share the secrets of aging gracefully, and also how you are able to balance this between your corporate responsibility. How did you balance for 20? See, you haven't quit 10 years back, probably when you were. We are almost like 20-25 years into a IT space, and then going on with a career, that too leaving behind a very lucrative position in the IT is not easy. But I think even while doing that, you had a very strong balance. How did you manage your home, your passion, and your corporate priorities?
Yes, family. I think everyone here would agree, whether being it in eWIT or whether doing anything other than a social cause kind of thing. eWIT is also a social cause. We will never be able to do it without the support of the family, right? And
Absolutely.
that is what it is. Be it my children, be it my spouse or my parents, they've all been of great support. Although in the initial years, my parents would wonder, what is she going after? What is this about training? What is this something called alert? She's constantly talking about. They had no clue. But over a period of years now, it's reached a point where they are absolutely, proud of what I do. And when people go and talk to them, they are really, really happy. And now we're able to appreciate it better. So that kind of support has always been there. And yes, the initial days were very tough managing because it was a very demanding job. My role as an accounts manager, and
Account delivery head, actually.
yeah, and for Asia Pacific region, the EMEA region, and all that, it was quite demanding, and the hours were crazy hours. But I think somewhere, where there is a where will there is a way. So it is
Absolutely.
not about the quantity of hours that you are putting into it. It is a quality, I would think. And of course, the scaling up was not that high like what it is right now when I'm there into it full time. But still, it gave a whole lot of satisfaction into what I was doing. So be it weekdays, be it all my weekends were going into this. And other than my family, I don't think I would have ever been able to sustainably, see it grow if not for the fantastic team that is behind Alert. And I'm talking about the board, the advisory board, the kind of passionate team that I have. So overall, I think it's the alchemy that has brought a fantastic team together, and it is where it is today.
So, many of us are aware how alert started, but if you can briefly tell me, when did the spark ignite in you? I know, if you could share the video of Kalam Kalam Salam Salam, it would be great, Kala. I was looking for that in the YouTube. I could not get the actual song that you guys played during the awards, but if you could tell us little more about how it all started.
Yeah, sure. So again, I was working in a company called Styria. It was then called Zansa, and it's a UK based company, and it was in Siruseri at that time in Point. And it was also it was back in 2005 when there was this. I was doing a lot of community work then. Like I was a part of Lifeline Hospital, spending my weekends counseling patients out there, the parents of the patients. And I was doing in a Satyasai organization. I used to go spend my time, being a part of the medical camps and things like that. So I was always looking out for some kind of activity that will give me. It's more from my own selfish internal gratification needs, right? I was looking for opportunities, and typically anything I see on the around me will bother me a lot. Like for instance, a young girl having a child and begging on the road, that will bother me a lot. When I see a lot of plastics around me, that bothers me a lot. So basically, I'm extremely sensitive to the societal woes, if I have to say.
I
And
think emotional side of you combined with empathy, I think that is what had really become such a strong motive behind Alert.
absolutely. And I felt at that point in time, I had this strong inner need or the urge to do something more.
Mm.
And it was not a very conscious thing that I picked on Alert. It was just, I think it was an awakening. moment for me when every time when I go to the from Madhya Kailash to Siruseri, going in the bus and seeing accidents. And every time my heart will cry out when I see it from the company bus, when I look out and see some accident out there.
And nobody is coming
Nobody
forward to help.
coming forward to help, including me, right?
Mm.
And that was every time my heart screams out saying, "Ye onnum panna maatenranga? Why? Ye ninnittu irukanga? Why can't they do something about it?"
அப்போவாது நின்னுட்டு இருக்காங்க. இப்போ உட்கார்ந்து ஃபோட்டோ எடுப்பாங்க தவிர, they will not do
Exactly.
anything. அந்த attitude.
And
Mm.
so it was that moment, I would say that particular moment when there was this strong sound from me, inner voice from me saying, "What are you doing about it? When you're not doing anything about it." And that actually came, if I'm not exaggerating, it was more like a slap on my face. And that truly was the awakening moment, which did not allow me to sleep. And then I think that a series of events led to this, getting trained and then realizing that these are very, very simple techniques that once somebody gives the 3 hours, a time they spend eating a pizza, or a time they go for a movie or a restaurant, if they can invest that kind of a time learning these simple universal life skills, anybody can save a life. So, and that was
Absolutely.
the beginning. And that led us to start Alert in 2006.
Okay, great. So, how did this name alert came into for being? And it really alerts people, when we talk about alert and Joe, yes, it alerts them. So, how did this actually happen?
Yeah, this is a question that many people ask, including a former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, said, like, how did you come up with this name? And how did you come up with that logo?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I really don't know. The answer is I do not know, because it was like I was putting up this slide deck to pitch it to the doctors community, and think the next day I was going to do a presentation at Lifeline Hospitals Perunudi, which is now the Apollo
Apollo
Hospital
super specialty.
super specialty. So, and then Dr. J.S. Rajkumar said, "I will extend all my support to you. What I'll do is I'll get all the nurses, doctors, everybody, you come and do a presentation to them."
Okay.
And so the previous night after my office, I was sitting and doing a presentation on what exactly I was envisioning
Hmm.
this project to. I was only looking at it as a project,
Hmm.
uh, right? At that point in time. So because I wasn't, because I had no previous experience in running an NGO, so I could not even visualize it as an NGO.
Hmm.
So it was a project for me, like a typical project manager or a program manager.
That is in our blood. We can't do away from project
Right.
management.
So, and first what came was I wanted it to name as this team, this trained first responders are going to be the emergency response team. So the ERT came into place, emergency response team. And
ERT.
then, since I was going to present it to the Lifeline hospitals, so I brought it up as Lifeline Emergency Response Team.
Response.
And then LERT was not making any sense. So I thought, something more sensible has to be there. And what made me put Amenity Lifeline Emergency Response Team? It became
Hmm.
Alert. And today, and I think these things, when you go back and think about it, it makes no sense, right? It just
Yes.
that certain things are just seeded in your mind by
True.
somebody above us.
So something like Goggle becoming Google and Google outshining alert became alert, and I think that's where we are. So
I
it's
just
amazing.
I always feel there is a hand above us, and we are mere puppets in the hand of something more powerful than, you call it the universal energy, you call it whatever, in the name of whatever. I feel that we are mere instruments in something more powerful than us, and I
Supreme
think that
than
is
all
what
of
makes
us.
it happen.
Absolutely. So what is Dr. Rajkumar's contribution in this?
Yeah, so when this idea about alert, and at that time it was not alert. This idea about coming up with a team of first responders came into me. Uh, Truth be spoken, I first spoke to a cardiac surgeon. who was also a part of Lifeline Hospitals then. Because I was going during the weekends to do my service, I told him, Doctor, this OMR is the most accident-prone zone.
That time it was
It
much
was
more.
at that point. Right now, ECR has taken over.
Yes.
Right? So I said, this is the most accident prone zone, and this is the only hospital in this area. So why don't we try, training? It's just a simple training. And why don't we just try, empowering a few people around this OMR stretch so that wherever it happens, until they bring them to the hospital, they can at least give the first response. And remember, we are talking about a timeline of 2005, 2006, when there was
Six.
no 108.
Correct.
There was no ambulance system. The ambulance came into Chennai in 2019. Sorry, 2009.
2009.
Yeah, we started in 2006. So the response from the doctor, with due respects to him, he said, see, Kala, we cannot change this, change India. Things are not going to change. And if I have to be really frank with you, as a doctor, even as a doctor, if I see an accident on the road, if I see anybody in a public place, I will not stop and help. And
Because I think the legal system at that time was non-cooperative, right? People who took patients to
uh,
hospitals were also asked to be linked to the case.
that is only an excuse if
Hmm.
somebody had to walk away from a victim, because my stance is always about, what in case that person happens to be your family member, your
Absolutely.
loved one? Would you walk away from that person whom you love so much just because you're scared of a police harassment,
Police or the case or whatever.
try and do something or the other?
Very
Right.
true.
So that was the first response I got, and then the second response is I contacted a neurosurgeon in Coimbatore, and then I got the same responses saying, you have a family, you have children, you have job to deliver. I don't think you should try and churn the ocean,
Hmm.
and things do not change like that. I think the more and more I was getting
A
these,
no as an answer.
the more conviction I felt that I had to do something about it. And then at around 11 o'clock in the night, because I knew Dr. J.S. Rajkumar works late in the evenings, I would think like it didn't let me sleep.
Hmm.
As Dr. Kalam says, dream is something that will
Will
not
not
let you
let
sleep,
you sleep.
right? And that
Hmm.
was what it was. I pinged him at 11:30, hoping he would be up, and I said, I need to discuss something. I called him, and he called me back, and I spoke to him very briefly about it. And next day morning, he asked me to come. And the first person who could visualize the bigger picture was J.S. Rajkumar. And he said, I think you should just go ahead and do this. I will give you all the support. You can consider Lifeline as the hospital which is going to extend any kind of support that you give. So I would, even the thought that saying that you should run it as an NGO and not as an individual. And when I said, I do not know how to run an NGO, he said, Kala, if you're going to try and do this as an individual, nobody is going to look at you.
Hmm.
And believe me, you will pick it along the way. This has to be an NGO. So to date, I always consider J.S. Rajkumar as the co-founder of Alert, because
Hmm.
if not for him, who has breathed in oxygen into this as a doctor, he really put in oxygen into a dream and made it happen, made it a reality today.
Awesome. And I think you're very blessed with the wonderful team, especially Rajesh, Mike Muralidharan sir, and everybody, and the team. How did you actually? I know you are a one-to-one person who will connect very well with people. So, how did this magic of this wonderful team happen?
Yeah, this is the board of Alert is magic, as you think. A team, any organization would just, it's a dream team, I would think so, because
Hmm.
and everybody individually are stalwarts themselves, right? And
Yes.
it's just, I don't know, as I always say, the dots got connected at some point. Rajesh came into it the minute it got started, because he has been with me all through his career. We have worked together in organizations, and the minute he got to know that this is something that I'm envisioning, and he started supporting me. And likewise, Mr. Kandaswamy Baradan, who is
Ah,
CEO and the man behind Kavitalaya Productions, director Balachandra's son-in-law. And he was the very first person other than Rajesh to come in to become a trustee, who said, I'm into it. This cause is something really, really very unique, and I really want to do as much as possible for this mission.
I
And then
should tell you, you are blessed to have Kavitalaya Productions behind all your AVs and videos that you put up, because they are par excellent. Because each one touches your heart. I think if you could really play one of the videos also, it will be great for the few of us who are here. Or if you can share on a group, it will be much more easy. The stories that depicts with Rajesh's voice in the background, and the entire way that you reach out to people is very unique. So to build a system of this level, it needs lot of consistency and hard work. So how many hours have you been spending on this on a daily basis while working?
while working, I would think on during the work days, like the weekdays, I think it would be more of 2.5, 3 hours. And
Consistently, right?
consistently, yes.
Okay.
Of course, the weekends are like, I have no clue. I think I was breathing, drinking, eating, everything alert during even then, even while I was still in HP.
Okay, great. Because I see Sharada joining, and I know how each one of the ladies who are taking things up in their stride and for their calling, they balance this just like you. And I think that is where all of us stand out in one way or the other. Despite all this, Kala that I know, Kala as a person had also gone through a lot of challenges. So, can you share few of that we earlier also came to know through IBM talk? So,
You mean the personal challenges or challenges?
personal challenges, because that is what motivates few of us who are here. I know what all of us are going through as well.
Yeah, so I think challenges are faced by everybody, and every person will have a story behind them. For some, it is financial; for some, it is relationship; for some, it is health. Right. So, and the stronger people, with God's grace, they come out of it to convey a message to the world. And I think, like how in other being awards, everybody said, like adversity brings out the hero in every single person, right? And
And an
I
opportunity to bring
yes,
something.
and it makes you a better person, I would think. And I'm to date, I'm thankful for the challenges that I faced. When I say challenges, it was more with the financial part of it, coming from what to say, affluent family, getting into an affluent family, and suddenly we were on the streets. And I don't have any hesitation in sharing this, is because today's generation, the tolerance and the impatience, breaks a lot of families and breaks a lot of couples. I think it was the conviction that we will come out of it, made the family come together. And it was a situation where my husband's the factory was brought down because Walmart, to whom we were supplying, filed Chapter 11 those days. And then because of which I had to relocate, lost the job, and the children had to go to different schools. And I had to travel to Noida, Bangalore, to keep it going. The children's school fees, and then I had to put the food on the table. So over 12 years, 12 to 13 years, I was the breadwinner. And I still look back with a lot of gratitude to the Almighty, that He gave me an opportunity to show how much I love my family, and
Absolutely.
yeah. So yes, it was a very, very tough time. It wasn't easy, and because it was not like a well-paying job at that time, especially for a woman from my background, because I'm not an engineer by academic qualification. I'm more of a literature, and then an MBA, did my MBA through my career, and then did a lot of certifications, IT certifications. So that actually brought me into an IT management thing. So in comparison to a techie, my take home was, in the beginning it was not that great. So I had to make do the hand to mouth, and slowly, God has been very kind, and I think my husband rose back like a phoenix from ashes, and he could rise high. And today, I think with God's grace, we are able to support many, many causes. And now we are able to value money and also realize the value of money. Money is not everything, right? So I think challenges makes a person a better, stronger, and more. They come out with more wisdom. This is what I feel. I'm
Because
also thankful. I always recall those days with a lot of gratitude.
I think that learning is what life teaches you, right? It's not written in any textbook, but it is our own story that we start weaving. And amazing, because when I first heard, oh my God, is this woman also having so many problems? Oh God, how did she keep smiling all the time? How did she maintain that big, broad smile and enthu in the office, enthu in the social work? And that's where I think you kept inspiring a lot of women around you without even realizing that you have been spreading positivity. So, tell us about your journey in Rotary. I know that you have been an Ann for many years, and Rotary Club of Madras South is proud to have you couple as part of them. And how is your journey, and how impactful is Rotary in your life?
Yeah, so even before I became a Rotarian, meaning I'm more an Anne, if I have to say it, right? My
Yes.
husband is a Rotarian. But I think even much, much before I got into Rotary, the impact that has had in my social life has been great, because when this alert got started in 2006, and during weekends or off work hours, when we used to go knock at every corporate, every college, saying, we would like to train your students, we would like to train your employees in this life skill. Get trained. It's just all it takes is 90 minutes or 2 hours. Please get trained them in first aid and emergency care. Everybody used to look at me with that thing. What's the agenda behind it? And we used to say it's not for a cost. It's for free. So typically everybody looks at it as there must be a hidden agenda into it, right? So we were not able to crack it at all, if I have to say. And the very first break came through Rotary, and that was Rotary Club of Chennai Towers. And
Okay.
they called me for you know what, actually we do not still understand what you're trying to do, but why don't you come and address people during the speaker meet, the 20 minutes pitch, right? So that was the first ever public addressing that we had, and slowly it has been Rotaries, Raila, Rotary Youth Training, Road Tractors Training, Inner Wheel Training. So it's basically after that, Rotary just lifted alert and has taken it into a different level. Basically, otherwise, only a social organization can do this to another social organization. So in
Exactly.
that way, I'm extremely, extremely grateful to Rotary. And today, like for the last so many years, I've been at a district level positions. Like I've been the chairperson for the first aid project at a district level, and then I've been a part of the executive committee of the disaster management team for the district level Rotary. So, but there's so much more that can be done. But yeah, I think I'm so glad that they have included and picked up Alar as a child, and they are carrying it forward.
I think the very mention that an NGO helps an NGO because they know the pain of it. They also know the pleasure of doing things voluntarily. But whenever you offer something totally free, people take it for granted. They
Right.
don't really understand the value of it. So I think that's where this combination really mattered. And amazing journey to hear about that combination, and from how you started on your Saturday services at Lifeline Hospital to where you are today. I can see that people talk about alert. That is a big win for you. And today people respond the minute they see an accident. At least they know whom to call. At least they don't really stay like just a spectator. anymore. So I think, can you also tell us about the legal changes that you have seen after bringing alert as a vibrant fuel to uh, enable people understand that you can lift a patient, take the patient to the nearest hospital without having any legal tangles later on? Can you explain to us on that part?
Yeah. So, if you see, like when we started Alert in 2006, we did a random survey with the strangers as to would you go and help somebody if you were to see some emergency in a
Accident.
and many responses came, and the top two things that came out as a findings were one, they say like I would love to go and help if somebody collapsed in a public place, but then uh, what in case something happens and if I go and help, the thing is I do not know what to do. The second one was I would love to go and help, but then I don't have the time, or I do not want to be dragged to a court or a police station, or somebody coming and questioning, harassing me with these questions. So these are were the two major inhibitors. One, I want to help, but I do not know what to do. I want to help, but I am inhibited by the fear of law enforcement, police, etc. So this is what we have been addressing, trying to address in the last 18 years through Alert. And today, one of a major module in whichever kind of training that we do is to create awareness on the Good Samaritan laws.
Okay.
Good Samaritan laws was something that is introduced in 2019 by the Supreme Court, and today it has been rolled out in most of the states. So what the Good Samaritan law says is, like, if you were to go and help a stranger on the road in a public place, and if you do not wish to become a witness, you cannot be forced to become a witness. And
Correct.
this is where it helps in becoming an informed citizen even before you try and go do something, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you can always say that I'm here to help the person. I saw this accident, or I saw this emergency, I'm here to help that person, but I do not wish to become a witness. And
Mm.
if you say so, the police officer cannot force you into becoming a witness. However, if you think that your witness is very crucial for that victim, or and if you are really
Willing to participate in the legal thing.
always say that I do not wish to come to the police station, but you can always come home or to my workplace to take my statement. So this is really important. They cannot drag you to the police station. And second is, if you're a person who have a vehicle, who has a vehicle, or you want to pick up an auto and take the quickly, you want to, we all do that, right? We pick
Yes.
up the victim and rush them to the hospital. No hospital can deny you the victim of basic stabilization, right? Whether
Okay.
it's a private hospital or a public government hospital, they cannot deny the victim of basic stabilization. If they really do that, if they say, we cannot take
If an
that,
accident case will not take, then it is against the law.
they can be legally prosecuted, and you do not have to disclose any of your credentials, and you do not have to pay. So this is very important to say to the hospital, I do not have to disclose my credentials. I'm here to, and I'm
Correct.
just here to admit the victim, and
Patient.
you will have to take them in. So these are like this, there are many things like we try to convey during a
The
uh,
training.
yeah, so we just, even if it's a 90-minute or a 60-minute training, we at least try to tell the audience what is it that you shouldn't do first, and what is it that you can do, basic minimum things that you can do when you see an emergency at any place.
When you talk about stabilization, Kala, does that also include first aid?
Yes, first aid is the first response is called the first aid. And first response is what you do with whatever you have in hand.
And
Right? It's not that we all carry first aid
yeah,
kits.
we were all taught in school the basic first aids, right?
Yes,
Something like that. But a hospital intervention, can they go ahead before moving the patient further? They should do that as part
yeah.
of
So one,
stabilization.
even a simple thing like calling an ambulance the minute you see is a first response.
Okay.
without losing. As simple as that. Even if you're not doing anything much, you're not confident to do anything much, and there are 20 people crowding on the victim, not letting the air go in, and crowding that place. Even if you're going to do a crowd control, as simple a thing like that is also first response.
Absolutely brilliant. So,
It's
uh,
not something really very complicated as we think. Just to stop somebody from giving water to an unconscious person, just say do not give water or any liquid soda, Gita, and that is also a first response.
okay. What I have heard stories how you rescued. We have seen a live witness during the Let Being Awards how you rescued the person. What was the biggest moment of this journey in the last for almost 18 years, right? What is the biggest moment that touched your heart and said, "Yes, I am doing the right thing"? Any one moment? We have seen plenty of moments, but I think
Many
one.
moments, as you rightly said, every single time somebody, a volunteer of ours, comes and says, Kala, today I attended this incident and it has been, and they break down. Because every time you see a life coming back, or every time you see as you handle an incident, it's a very life, and it cannot be articulated in words. It is a very life transforming experience, because you become a parent to that victim. Actually,
Mm,
you're,
mm.
you're acting like God. I would really go to that extent. Basically, you're God in disguise for that victim, and
We
for
saw that in the couple that you saved in the beach.
that.
So,
Right. So
what happened that morning?
every time somebody comes and says that they have handled a victim, and that is the reiterating moment for us that we are in a right path. Challenges could be many, but at least that keeps us going, as to how many ever steps, however slow, but we are going.
Okay. This moment when you found this man falling in the beach, and of course you are an alert being, you are the alert founder. Despite of all that, what made you think that that man is really collapsing?
He was already collapsed when it was 5:20 a.m. In the Besant Nagar beach, and I was running basically, and it was very dark, 5:20, and that too in August. It was very very dim at near Talapakati, if anybody
Yeah,
is
yeah.
familiar with Besant Nagar beach. So, and I saw two three people standing there from afar, like, which is about 200 feet away. I saw that, and I did not increase my speed, but then I started going towards them, and as I went there, that is when I noticed somebody was down, actually, because it
Mhm.
was very dark at that time. And so I quickly stopped, and I saw he was bleeding from the head, meaning from the back, and that was more because of the kind of fall he
Fall
just,
he had.
yeah, collapsed, and it was a tar road, right? And so that
Mm.
is it was bleeding from that wound, and so immediately I got a towel. I said, does anybody have a towel, dupatta or something? And then I just started applying pressure to that wound. And then it was then I noticed that his eyes, everything had gone up, and he was still. And I asked on a person who was standing close by to hold that cloth, to his thing,
Tightly.
yeah, and to apply pressure. And then I started feeling his carotid pulse, which is here in the neck, and it was like crazily fast,
Going
and
fast.
then it was slowing down, and slowly I what I did was to put him in the recovery position, as in a first aid. If in simple parlance, it's like putting him on the side. The purpose of putting him on the side is that we give the advantage of the blood, oxygenated blood, to rush into the brain, so that it doesn't,
Have a hemorrhage also.
they might get the consciousness back.
Okay.
And but then it slowly started slowing down. The pulse started slowing down, and by then the Kaveri ambulance, which was parked nearby, they had reached the spot. And then the paramedic said, he also checked, and he said, I think we need to start the CPR. So I started giving the CPR continuously all the while, and by then it was a flat line on him. There was no movement, and you know uh, all I was doing was, typically you count 1, 2, 3, 4 while giving the CPR. But I was like, being a side devotee, I was saying, Sairam, Sairam, let him come back, let him come back. And his wife, who was also walking, came there. She started calling out his name, and it was just a blank line thing. And while the paramedic was trying to get a few things, I said, do you have an ambu bag in the ambulance? He said, yes. First, I said, can I do a mouth-to-mouth resuscitation? He said, and then I asked him, does he have an ambu bag? He rushed and got an ambu bag, and I called another co-runner,
Volunteer.
a co-runner basically, who runs along with me in the morning fitness thing. He's also a trained, alert trained person. So I asked him to apply that, ambu bag while I continue doing the CPR. And after a while, I knew that it wasn't, he was not responding. So I asked him, if they asked the paramedic if they have an AED, the one that gives the shock
Shock.
in the chest, yeah, to bring back the heart. And he said, yes, they do have the AED, and he brought it. So while he was trying to fix all of this, I was continuing to do the CPR, and at some point, I heard a loud gasp coming out of that person.
Life getting back.
Life coming back into him, and then I knew he has made it. And of course, a long story short, he was rushed to Malar Hospital. He was there in the ICU for 3 weeks, after which he's back, and you saw him.
We saw him on the stage. So
it is a very fine, that line, when we say a corpse and a person, right? A corpse, and you give a name to that person. I saw that day. It was just a bag of flesh that day. It was just a corpse. And in a moment, the minute the life comes in,
he becomes a person.
Yeah, and he becomes a person. So it is possible that everybody can give that second chance to another person, and it is a life transforming.
Brilliant. This was the most moving part of the eLIT Awards, and I think that is the purpose why each one are made to be at the right place to save somebody. And lots of love to you, Kala, because I know you made that family bounce back to life that day. So uh, it's amazing to hear, and I think I can keep asking you questions about a lot of stories that we have been witnessing through alert awards and alert as an organization. So thank you so much, and I do have few of our friends who may have any questions. In case you have any questions, please feel free to unmute and ask Kala on anything that you would like to know about emergency response or Kala as a person.
Hi Kala, Sunita here. Sorry, I'm not on video because I just finished puja and I came. The moment you said Sairam and the way you were talking, I literally had goosebumps. I think this is our second interaction, and every time I'm amazed the way this alert is run and the way things are, and how as an individual I can contribute. And I was also thinking that, do you have programs for children so that we can bring in our kids and then they can start early, because that is very very important, because whatever we are trying to do, it's always better to pass it on to the next generation, so they are there, they don't, because the current generation is more digital. So more than helping people, it is more like there are people who will keep taking videos and posting it in Facebook. So a lot of awareness needs to come into the children. I will not generalize it, but then yes, I do see that happening around. So is there something where the children can be involved, and do you have any programs for children?
Absolutely, Sunita. Thanks for your question. I think we focus a lot when we say primary target audience, the secondary target audience. The first and very first primary target audience are the kids, school students, and the college students. Because how much ever we try to train the adults, the cups are already full, and the fears and the inhibitions are always going to stop. Maybe 80% of the adults will always get inhibited, but then you give this knowledge to catch them young, and at the grassroots levels, and I think it gets embedded in them much faster. And that is what we try to do. We have alerted school programs, and for the colleges we have the Golden Army. And what the Golden Army stands for is, we are trying to create an army of first responders who will be the warriors during the golden hour. And that is how the term Golden Army comes. So for schools, we have a number of programs, be it a 90 minutes module, two alerted school programs run for 15-hour curriculum, where the schools are enrolled, and it becomes like a proper subject, like it's a one period subject for 15 hours, and they get certified and things like that. And it becomes a club in the schools. But then if you're, say, bringing 15 children from an apartment complex, or even just say, or with family children, we can have a private session.
Okay.
Yeah, we can have a hands-on session for them, which will be more fun. And we do a lot of summer camps and things like that.
Thank you so much for that, because that's something which I was going to check with Uma. Can we have something like that for at least the eWIT, kids? Because
Families, we
I
can do
know
that.
for a fact, I know for a fact that I don't think his school has it, but I definitely want him to be part of it. So now, if there is an opportunity, definitely we would like to be, like to
All
learn
you
that and
need
then put him through
is
it. So
contact.
thank you.
All you need to do is contact Kala and ask her and team to your school, and I think that would be beneficial to rest of the students.
Sure. I will also speak to them. I have a parent teachers meeting tomorrow. Probably I will propose this as one this thing for their school, and let's see how it goes.
Awesome.
Thank you, Sunita.
Thank you, Kala. Thank you, Uma.
Over to you.
Yeah, this is Hemlata. One suggestion I have.
Yes.
See, just like, we used to have NCC and sports, which were kind of, compulsory in schools. I think this should be made compulsory, because if you make it voluntary, it is just like, it's just one more voluntary exercise. Once you make it compulsory, like, you have conscription in certain countries. This is a very important thing, particularly now Tamil Nadu, at least, the road accidents are the highest. So at least as per the papers, okay, whether I do not know the other numbers, but that being the case, I think this is the most important thing today. If a person falls off a bike, or even if it's an accident, a person is walking on the road and he just falls off, because there are so many, the sad thing is there are so many drunken fellows going, you feel scared to go around near them. That also is there. Whether they are really drunk, or, whether they are really sick, or whether they are drunk, we can't make out. So, if there's some kind of a, regular class in schools, where this is made compulsory, schools and colleges, of course, this would be of great help. And it will be, you really said you have an army. This will be a real big army, I would say.
Absolutely, Hemlata. I think you just nailed it. And this is something Alert has been working consistently, not giving up. We have been presenting a lot of petitions, working with the Ministry of Education, and given a petition to the CM and all the IAS officers, you name it, we have done it. We are continuing to do it. But then, as you all know, that it takes a lot of time, because this kind of first response, first aid classes are given at a 5th grade, be it in US or UK. Unfortunately, here, the children don't even know how to dial a 108. You don't have to do much. We are not talking about complex CPR to the school children, right? If you can't do much, just call a 108. You call the right people, do the right things, and don't do certain things. That's all you need to know. And so this is something, you're absolutely right. It has to become a part of the curriculum, if not at a 5th grade, at least in the 8th grade, thing. And
yeah, high school onwards.
Yeah, we have been trying a lot of continuous efforts towards that. And meanwhile, we were not willing to stop for something as major as becoming a law or a GO passed in the state, but we started doing it on a retail basis, and that's what we are doing right now. While we are working on, making it as a part of the system, so that it has to reach all the students. Meanwhile, we are also knocking at the individual doors of the schools and colleges. But yes, it has to become a part of the curriculum. No two ways about it. And likewise, it has to become a part of the licensing system. So we are talking to the transportation department, where it has to be, right now what we are doing is, every single day at every single, I mean, some 2 or 3 RTOs will have our alert sessions. And, while people come and whether they are renewing the licenses, applying for the licenses, they are made to wait there and go through the programs. So, but again, this is not the way to go forward, recommended way to go forward. It has to become a part of the licensing, process, because in a place like Singapore, you cannot get a license without undergoing a training on first aid. So these are some systemic changes we are working on, and maybe during our lifetimes, we will see it coming through.
Absolutely. I think the Good Samaritan law was a beginning, and slowly I think a lot of things will change. We just need to continuously push, sensitize the governments and the machinery that we have. So
yeah, for the advocacy is a major part of what we do, while training continues to be our core, empowering training, sensitizing, and things like that. Advocacy with the government is yet another major thing that is an ongoing basis, on a day-to-day basis, we are working on.
Absolutely brilliant. We can take one last question as we are nearing 7 o'clock.
Hi, ma'am. I would
Hi,
like to know how I should get trained, alert trained.
Yeah, so we have regular Saturday trainings going on. It's it's online, or if you really want to experience it in person, we have a simulation lab, the first of its kind simulation lab in the country in Nilankarai. You're free to visit that, but most of them actually after COVID we made it online, so you can log in every Saturday. It happens, I think, around 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. You can log into the website and register yourself. And yeah, you can attend that. That's a very basic course. That's a 60 minutes course. And then if you're really interested after that, you can, we also have advanced courses and the intense courses that happens on a monthly basis, and you can register for that and you can attend it. Or if you already have a group of people, be it at your organization, apartment complex, or even relatives, a minimum of 15 people or 20 people, we can arrange a private session for you.
Which site should I log in for the Saturday class?
Yeah, it's www.alert.ngo.
Okay.
Just type in alert.ngo, you'll get it.
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah, over to you, Sharda.
No, I don't have any questions, but I'm so proud of Kala, the way she started and the way she has been keeping on going it. And then the kind of vision she has and how she puts everything aside to reach that vision is what I just wanted to say, because we go back so many years, and I know when Alert was started and the kind of pinnacle she has reached. Of course, the Mount Everest is yet to be climbed, but still, I'm so proud of you, Kala.
Thank you so much, Sharda, because even when that defining moment with Dr. Abdul Kalam happened, I think the very first the few people that I shared it with was the eWIT members. Where I still remember that evening when we were having I came in for a meeting from HP, Sharada, Vijay, Kalyani, and all of them were there. And I think the very first few people I shared it was showing the picture of Dr. Kalam and we standing together. It was eWIT members. So yes, Sharada has always been a big influencer, a motivator, and encouraging person. Thank you, Sharada, for your kind words.
Thank you so much. And Kala, I know lots of love to you from the entire eWIT. We had a very small crowd, but a very sensible questions coming in and a lot of takeaways for each one of us. I think definitely you made that impact. So thanks a lot for accepting our invitation and being here today. And we definitely would love to be of any help that we can do to keep spreading the message of Alert. So you can always count on us. Thank you. Thank you so much for spending your valuable 1 hour with us today.
Thank you, Uma and Ambika and everybody at eWIT for this absolutely privileged opportunity. And again, I would at this point also take the opportunity and say I would love to, get back to eWIT at some point. And that was the reason why, I even gave my name for the get together earlier. But I do hope, although now I'm out of the corporate world, I hope I can still be a part of it.
You are always part of it because you're now influencing a lot of corporates. So that way you are still connected. So please do keep coming to our networking events.
Thank you so much. And I just enjoyed this session thoroughly. Thank you all.
Thank you.
so
Thank you,
much.
everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thanks,
Have a
everyone.
nice evening. Bye.
Thank you all.
Happy
Bye-bye.
weekend to all.
Happy weekend.
Happy
Bye-bye.
weekend. Bye.
Bye-bye.